Days to die for, indeed.
Find exactly what you're looking for.
US Cellular makes it easy to switch. Get $1,000 off any phone with no trade-in.
We don't even have to trade in our team?
Nope.
I am the fourth one.
Any phone with no trade-in, and we'll pay off your current contract when you switch. US Cellular, built for us. Seeing giant creatures roaming around and the heart was shivering near the city, all of this in his diary, and there are reports that show ropes on the wind and cripples all the Whoa. All independently come up with the same allegedly fictitious looks like completely different cultures and zero contact among each other and thousands of kilometers apart. All this myth that's irrelevant or flat out ignored by mainstream archaeology. Get your tinfoil hats ready for this one.
Jesus. That's pretty nice. When I woke up this morning, it was 8 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So I came to the studio, and I was like, that's a little cold even by my New England sensibilities. So I thought we could have a little fire in here to warm myself up. That's nice. That's a real fire hazard right there. Actually, do have the space heater in here with me today, which doesn't matter considering the entire place is uninsulated and way too big for this space heater. Bringing us to a balmy 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And with that, I'm ready to make a video. Anybody want some paraffin wax? Do a slight rearrange here. There we go. We don't need the candle to be directly in front of me. Wow, I have a great idea. While I work on scripting the Atlantis episode, why don't I just do a fun little easy one-off video? You know, I don't know, maybe I'll talk about someone's TikTok account. You know, just sort of break down all the videos they've made. It'll be nice and easy, and certainly won't take me 2 months and 2 reshoots to finally complete. I have discussed a lot of conspiracy videos in my 3 years on TikTok and YouTube, and over the course of this time, there's been a lot of repeat offenders. But through all this time, there has been one account that has reigned supreme. The uncontested king of bullshit. An account that I get tagged in so much, it clogs my inbox every single time I open TikTok. For those of you that know who it is, I'm sorry. But today, we're going to be talking about Phil Spixel, a conspiracy TikTok account run by a fellow by the name of Philip Ziba. Philip Ziba? I don't know. Philip, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. A few months ago, I found that I had been tagged in one of this guy's videos more than 300 times. And that's just one example. It seems like 75% of my tags are from this guy's content. And honestly, I'm kind of sick of it at this point. And so today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be doing something I have never done before. I went through Philip's entire channel. It was, as you can imagine, an agonizing process, but I do it for you. And from all those videos, I have pulled all the major arguments that he makes. And in this video, I'm going to be going over every single one of them. Everything from Hollow Earth to Pyramid Power Plants to the Smithsonian destroying giant skeletons. Howdy friends, my name is Milo Rossi, and welcome to this exceptionally long video, which I can think of no more an appropriate name than Philip Ziba Debunked. Philip Ziba is a bit of a character. You know, as one creator looking at another, I recognize the fact that all of us are characters in a way. We are based very heavily off of who we are in real life, but of course we put on a bit of an exaggerated persona for the camera. We're going to be getting to know Philip's character very well today, but the trick we need to start with is a little something that we in the biz like to call yapping. My man Philip can yap. Now, if you move the mouse, I'm sure you're saying to yourself, who the fuck is this guy? He's got a 2-hour-long video complaining about somebody else yapping. Yeah, you know what? That's fair. I'll admit it. Pop on the kettle black a little bit. But the difference is that this is a YouTube video essay. It's supposed to be 2 hours long. What else are you supposed to play in the background while you're, doing homework or something? Philip's sole medium is short-form content. Now, when you think of short-form content, what do you think of? 60 seconds, 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, maybe. Now, my man here can make videos that are upwards of 5 minutes long. Now, while I personally think 5 to 6 minutes is way too long for a short-form video, I have some respect for it, okay? He's got a lot to say, even if it is yapping. But that's where my problem comes in. Because I make so much time yapping, he's able to say so much bullshit in 6 minutes that I can only debunk like 1 point in 60 seconds. So since I can't even begin to grasp the surface of his bullshit in a single short-form video, I decided to do this instead. Now, I've been planning to make this video for a long time. For those of you who subscribe to me on Patreon, you will have seen that this has been my roadmap for ever. In fact, I actually already filmed this video, the entire thing. It took me like 5 hours, and my structure was just, I watched like 7 of his videos in a row and just talked about it. But the problem is it ended up being so redundant, and I absolutely hated how it was organized. So I decided to take another like 3 weeks to re-script the entire thing and shoot this. Oh, it's cold in here. What are we looking at? Oh, we have just crossed the 30-degree Fahrenheit line. Can you guys see the steam coming out of my mouth? Probably not. The lights are shining into it. What if I do this? Ready? It's gonna be crazy. Or it's not gonna work at all. See? Told you it was cold in here. So before we get into this unnecessarily long video, I want to welcome some of you. First, I would like to give a warm welcome to any viewers who are familiar with Philip's content and have some sort of belief in it. If you are a skeptic, I encourage you to watch through this whole video. In this video, I'm going to be going over all of the points Philip makes. All of my sources are going to be linked on screen, and you can find all of them in the description. So if you are truly someone who, wants to do your own research, put your money where your mouth is and watch this video to educate yourself further. Or if you want to call me a sheep and click off the video, you can have at it, but you can see the fact that you care more about your feelings than you do about facts. Hit him with the Ben Shapiro. Secondly, I'd like to give a big welcome to pretty much everyone else. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You've probably seen some of my TikToks where I do debugging of conspiracy theories. Well, if you like those, you're in luck because I'm going to be doing it for like 2 hours here. If you clicked on it because you saw how long the video is and you're just playing it in the background while you do homework or something like that, welcome. I do the exact same thing. I actually kind of intended for this video to be a little bit for that. If you want to be generous, sauce me an interaction. It's like tipping the bellhop. It helps what I do here, And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I love you. And bonus points if you're watching at the live premiere, Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the last person that I want to welcome to this video is Philip Ziba himself. Now, Philip, if you are actually watching this, I'm actually partly addressing this video to you. As I said in the beginning, we both have caricatures. I think I said character, but what I should have said is caricatures. We both have exaggerated versions of ourselves that we present on the internet. This is my caricature. We're about to see your caricature. Now, in this video, my caricature is going to go toe-to-toe with your caricature. But one of the reasons that I reshot this video is because I felt like the first one was just too much of commentary channel attack content. And that didn't really sit well with me. And so while I am still going to be going for some pretty good digs in this video, I actually am trying to give you some advice, as weird as that sounds. No, I'm not going to lie. I don't really like your content. And as a matter of fact, I don't even really know if I like you. But as a man to man and a creator to a creator, I respect you. Because regardless of the content you make, you are good at what you do. Even though I disagree with the information that you're putting out there, you have an obvious ability to connect with your audience. You have built a platform of 1.5 million followers on TikTok, and that's pretty impressive. Now, the only part of you that I've seen is your caricature. And so, unfortunately, I'm going to be judging you based off your caricature, which is a little unfair, but I don't really have anything else to go off. And so I want you to know that my thesis here isn't, fuck you, get off the internet. I am, A, trying to point out why I think the content you're making is something you should move away from and the damage that it has. But along with that, I also want to try and give you some, advice and maybe some ideas for how to make your content better. Because even though the stuff you are communicating is a bunch of bullshit, you are a great communicator. So if you can respect the fact that we're kind of going into this as frenemies, I'm good to get this thing started. You hear that? That's the squirrels. Hey, keep it down up there, little fuckers. Oh, shit. They're climbing on the fucking rain gutter. Yo, hey, little bastard, get out of here. Oh, shit. Honestly, I'm okay with having squirrels in my house. They get the attic, I get the downstairs. That works. We have a no man's land. We have an understanding here. I mean, it's cold outside. Why should I get to be in the warm house and they can't? Throughout this video, I want us to all keep a question in mind, and that is, does Philip actually believe in the things that he is saying, or is he just saying them to get clicks? Because someone who actually believes in what they are saying is willing to sort of go the extra mile, do the extra legwork. And even if we don't agree with them, and I'm going to research all of my points to, show whether or not there's facts backing up the things he says, they still believe in it and they are willing to back it up. Someone who does it just to get clicks is someone who doesn't really care what words are coming out of their mouth. And in my opinion, it's even a little bit worse because they probably don't believe the things they're saying, but they are willing to peddle it anyway to people who do believe it because it's the thing that gets them clicks and views. Okay, and lastly, before we get into things, I want to make this very clear at the beginning. This is not a hit piece. I do not have a personal problem with Philip. This is not me trying to the internet and start some fucking bullshit. I don't really care about who Philip is as a person. I am just looking at the things that he is saying. These could be coming out of the mouth of anyone, and I would be fact-checking them in the exact same way. You are not to use this video as grounds to give Philip or his fans any negativity, and if you take a video like this as an excuse to harass someone, you are fucking dirt to me. Okay, we all on the same page with this? Good. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this thing started. Damn, bro, it's cold up here. I need to get my mittens. Right, Philip, piece of advice number 1. Never let him catch you without your mittens. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Alright, so I think there's no better way to kick off listening to Philip's yapping than by looking at whatever the fuck this video is.
Bro, what on earth is this thing?
That's Big Bird in drag. I saw him last time I drank ayahuasca.
Apparently it's called the opium, or the erosion bird. And don't worry, they're definitely AI generated.
That's bullshit, Philip. Those things are definitely real. The one that I saw told me exactly how and when I was gonna die.
But many are beginning to claim that creatures like this are actually real, and we've already encountered them in our past before.
So this video came out around the height of the, erosion bird meme. So he clearly isn't claiming that these things are real, because that would be ridiculous, but he's using it as a bit of a clickbait segue into whatever the next bullshit is he's gonna say.
Why did cultures all around the world just all independently come up with the same allegedly fictitious anthropomorphic bird?
The same allegedly fictitious anthropomorphic bird. Okay, we're grasping at straws right off the bat here. So Philip, I gotta ask you something real quick. If you look at all those birds that you got up on screen right now, do those look like the same bird to you? Is that Thoth at the top? Thoth? What the fuck is his name? Okay, you got Thoth at the top, you got some sort of Mesopotamian god, and then some South American god. Now, while they all have bird features, what you will notice is that they have about as many different bird features as is humanly possible. One of them has the head of a bird and no wings, one of them has the head of a human and wings, and one of them is dressed in a bird costume. You cannot tell me that that is enough evidence for you that all of our ancestors were connected to bird people. So this brings us to a very important theme through all of Philip's content that we need to talk about right off the bat. And we even get to learn a new vocab word. So everyone repeat after me, hyperdiffusion.
Discover color, confidence, and joy in your beauty journey. Find your Sally store.
This mission will be codenamed Operation Snake. This is a cold war with information and espionage. Snake, show your patriotism. Don't worry. I intend to.
Hyperdiffusion is a pseudoscientific concept that traces its roots back to the end of the 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s. And even if you're not familiar with the word, you are absolutely familiar with hyperdiffusion. If you've seen anyone peddle conspiracies about Atlantis or long-lost, globe-spanning civilizations of the Ice Age or even ancient aliens, these are all examples of hyperdiffusion. Generally, the concept dictates that all of the major civilizations on Earth are descended from one lost master civilization. You can see why this was such a popular concept in the late 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s. Now, while the people who peddle these concepts today are obviously not using them in the same way as, Ignatius Donnelly did in the, 1900s, hyperdiffusion is something that has been used for a litany of terrible shit, everything from eugenics to justifying Nazi land claims. Now, obviously, that's not what Philip is doing here, but it is important to understand the roots of this concept. Now, with the background out of the way, how does hyperdiffusion really work in the practice of these videos? Well, why don't I just show you, and I promise you'll get the hang of it really fucking quickly.
So this is a map of pyramids all around the world, all allegedly built independently of each other, and all having identical structures that followed a similar step pattern. Famous pyramids of Djoser in Egypt, Chichen Itza, Pyramid de los Nichos, Tikal Temple, the Great Pyramid of Cholula, Kokur, and Prasat Daksay Chem Krong in Cambodia. And deep within the ocean is and sunken Yonaguni monument, all with a nearly identical look, yet built by completely different cultures with zero contact among each other and thousands of kilometers apart.
Wow, that one is pretty classic. If people all over the world didn't have contact with each other, how did they know how to put the rocks going up? Just like the weird bird thing that we started out with, all these concepts are predicated on the idea that if A looked like B, then high-speed rail network. Trust me, we have a lot to cover about pyramids in this video, so I will get into that claim itself, but for the moment I want it to stand as an example of hyperdiffusion. Frequently, hyperdiffusion is used when talking about some of the most basic shit possible. When talking about the pyramids, it's like, how did they realize to stack them, or how did they realize to make stones fit together this way?
How did our ancient ancestors figure out these identical building techniques completely independent of each other?
What these people totally neglect to mention is there's only so many ways to work with stone. If you have thousands of civilizations across the world, of course some of them are going to come up with pretty similar ways of doing the same thing with the same materials trying to achieve the same end. Now, along with talking about physical constructions, hyperdiffusion also plays a lot into folklore, just like the birds that we saw just a minute ago. Now, a misconception that I think is peddled by these conspiracy theorists all the time is that archaeologists don't want to listen to folklore. In reality, folklore is one of the most important anthropological tools that we have, being anthropology, not archaeology, because you don't like dig for folklore. Almost all folklore is based on some modicum of truth, and there's no anthropologist in the world who would deny that. But these conspiracy theorists kind of take it to a different level, where instead of looking for the seed of truth in the forest of myth, you just decide to cut down every tree and take it at face value.
Ancient Indian mythology had the Vedas. In the Old Testament, we got the Nephilim. The Quran had the people of Od. Ancient Egyptians had their carvings and drawings of extremely large people in chairs. Mayans and Aztecs had their own depictions of towering humans. And the Sumerians, well, they had the Anunnaki.
We're going to have to talk about giants a lot later in this video, so I'm not going to get into it now, but hyperdiffusion. The thing that these conspiracy theorists don't really recognize is that all of the sort of commonalities between all of these cultures are things that every person around the world had contact with. The idea of a giant person is not a hard thing to come up with. We all live around people, and the concept of anthropomorphic animals is fucking ancient, as long as we've been able to, fire enough synapses to combine two creatures together. We are a species that lives on the ground. For as long as we could look up, we've seen birds flying in the sky and thought, man, I wonder what's up with that. So if you're telling me that the most likely reason a bunch of cultures around the world have bird deities is because there are actual bird deities and not because we all live on a planet with fucking birds, then you are out of it.
Zuni and Homo Pueblo have legends of a race that existed there before them. These myths all speak of either a race of reptilians, yes, we're in lizard people territory now, or giants that civilized the area.
Uh-oh. What do you mean by that, Philip? That doesn't really give the right. I know you didn't mean it like that, but let's just... I'm an anthropologist, all right? My field pretty much got its birth from eugenics, so I'm trying to, right the wrongs of the past a little bit here.
Micmac, a Native American tribe that lived along the Atlantic coast, which shares a baffling number of similarities with Egyptian hieroglyphs, two cultures that allegedly had no contact among each other. This one was just a coincidence, of course.
Philip, I'm going to give you my first piece of advice. You clearly have an interest in history. You clearly have an interest in antiquity and the mysteries of the past. There are so many mysteries out there that you can talk about without having to peddle fucking reptilian bullshit. What about the Micmac language you just talked about? That's pretty interesting, isn't it? I'm sure a lot of your viewers probably haven't heard about the Micmac language, but because of the way you presented that video, now the only thing they know about is, well, maybe the ancient Egyptians had contact with the Micmac. Why don't you make a video talking about the mysterious Micmac language? Why is it that the Micmac have a written language and so many other indigenous groups in the U.S. didn't? By trying to claim that there was some fictitious lost civilization, you make every little piece of the puzzle that we have at our disposal that's actually real completely trivialized.
Just like the Fuente Magna Bowl found in Bolivia with Proto-Sumerian cuneiform script writing on it.
That's not true. Alright guys, we're doing an awful archaeology speed run. Hey guys, welcome back to Awful Archaeology. Today we're going to be talking about the Fuente Magna Bowl. The Fuente Magna Bowl has no history, as in we have no idea where it came from, there is no record of the site, and we really don't even know when it was discovered. For those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you'll be familiar with the word context. It's probably the most important concept in archaeology. Most of the information you can get from any artifact is finding where it is located. It's context in the world. Finding a projectile point in a stream bed is very different than finding a projectile point in, a pile of bones. But if you were to take both of those projectile points, not record where they came from, and then just keep them in a box, they mean pretty much nothing. So you could have literally the Holy Grail in your hand, and if you don't have any records of where it came from, what the environment around it was like, it pretty much is worthless. So since we have no record of where the Fuente Magna Bowl came from, that makes it a little suspicious. Since people claim that it is the sole artifact that, shows that ancient Mesopotamia had contact with North America, that makes it really suspicious. Oh wait, not North America. South America. It was in Bolivia, right? Sorry, my bad. Philip claims that he knows what language is on this bowl, which he should try and get that published, considering that nobody else has managed to figure out what the language on the bowl is. Various people trying to interpret the Puente Magnavola have claimed that the script on it is anything from Sumerian, Proto-Sumerian, Phoenician, Georgian, and even Hebrew. So long story short, if people can't even agree on what the language on the bowl is, it probably doesn't mean anything. In all likelihood, the Puente Magnavola was either a completely fabricated artifact or an actual artifact that was later carved on in order to sell it for a higher profit. Thanks for watching Off Archaeology. Stay curious and all that shit.
Records of inner-Earth civilizations have been reported by many, if not almost every ancient society of our past.
Wow, I wonder why that is, Philip. Maybe because for as long as people have had their neurons firing, we've wondered, I wonder what's below our feet. I'll give you 1 second to guess what he's going to do next. Time's up. If you guess that he's going to list a bunch of civilizations that all have underworlds in their mythology, you are absolutely right.
Buddhists, Gartha. Ancient Indians have Patala. The Mayans got Xibalba. Chico Mostok for the Aztecs. The Sumerians Ker. Babylonians Urkala. Chinese Diu. Ancient Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and even Celtics.
I'm sorry, the what?
Even Celtics.
The fucking Celtics. I always knew the fucking Celtics were doing something down there, bud. I gotta humble myself here for a second. I'm not normally the kind of person to make fun of someone mispronouncing something, but the fucking Celtics? You can't come onto the video of a guy from fucking Boston and not expect him to notice when you call the Celtics the fucking Celtics. You wanna go try that shit in fucking Southie, bud? Blue 95, the Auto Mile in fucking Norwood. Come on down there and try calling the Celtics the Celtics. I'll rock your fucking shit, bud. Shout out Massachusetts. You'll always have my heart. He's wearing a NASA shirt, too. Actually, that's pretty hilarious. You know what, Philip? I'm gonna give you a little point for that. I'll imaginary mark it on the wall. Hilarious that you're wearing a Celtics shirt. That would have been really good. If you wore a Celtics shirt, I would have thought that you actually intended to call them the Celtics. Wait, am I losing my shit? Is it actually pronounced Celtics, or is it Celtics? I always thought it was Celtics. Okay. Citation needed on that one. I'm looking at it, and it looks like it's Celtics, which is how I've always heard it. But if I'm wrong, a research assistant and a fact check. At least that bit was still pretty funny. No, I don't want to know how to pronounce Celtics like the Boston Celtics.
Celtics. Washington has a tough time agreeing on anything, but they agree Medicare Advantage is critical for seniors.
Medicare Advantage is now the healthcare choice for nearly 34 million seniors.
There is clearly a strong and growing interest by seniors to have access to MA.
Patients in my district have gravitated towards MA plans. MA plans have become increasingly popular.
MA is a very popular option.
Fuck you, you stupid ass nerd.
Need more power? Tougher nose.
Wood barrel bourbon. This body wash exceptional. The aroma is bodacious. Give Dr. Squash your heart. Buy Dr. Squash. In stores and online now. And Dr. Squash. Feel like a man, smell like a champion.
Whether you're fully loaded, accelerating up and on ramp, or out on that lonely two-lane.
Yeah, I know how to pronounce the name of the Boston fucking Celtics. Here in Ireland, except for the initial soft say in sports teams' names, like the Celtics, Celtic with a hard C or K is the standard, but that was not always the case. The early pronunciation was with an S sound, reflecting its nearest origin in French. Okay, well, looks like Milo is right again. Okay, I'm glad I was right about that. That would have been pretty embarrassing. I mean, I don't know, maybe the Celtics do have their own underworlds. The TD Garden is kind of like the underworld on Earth, so, I mean, it would only make sense.
Just like the flood myth that appears in every single ancient civilization.
Okay, fuck off. We're not talking about the flood myth. I'm so sick of that bullshit. The problem is that the entire concept of hyperdiffusion has one really big weakness. Whether someone's trying to convince you of Atlantis or a lost globe-spanning civilization of the Ice Age, there is one single piece of evidence that can debunk every single one of those points. And that is because people like to bang. Come on now. Whoa. You see that? My finger caught on fire for a second. For as long as humanity has climbed out of the primordial ooze, we have been leaving our grubby little fingerprints all over this planet. And the most conclusive way of seeing where humanity's path has been is looking at the literal genetic code in our bodies. Have a look at this map. This is a map of human migration across the world done only through genetic evidence. If you do believe that there was a lost advanced globe-spanning civilization in the Ice Age, then they must have had absolutely no game. If you do believe in these hyperdiffusion ideas, please just research research this yourself. One off the top of my head, the Kennewick Man, an ancient set of human remains found in what's now like the Pacific Northwest of the United States, has a very close genetic link to a lot of indigenous Americans, as you won't be surprised, but also has a very close link to a lot of indigenous Siberians, because genetically he was very close to that group of people. Look at the globalization of the world today. We have people from all over the world who are able to, mix with one another. When our civilization collapses, and you can mark my words that it will, if there were some anthropologists thousands of years in the future, they would be able to tell that we had a globe-spanning civilization because of our genetics. The frustrating thing about archaeology is you're trying to assemble like a 1,000-piece puzzle with 3 pieces left, and that means that there's a lot of blank spaces. But a lot of these hyperdiffusion theories act like we have all of the pieces. So instead of acknowledging that there's gaps between them, they're like, yes, Karahan Tepe, and, Guru Tadar, all this random shit, and they're like, yes, this is the full picture. Even though we're constantly uncovering new shit, and we'll never have the full picture. It's no small wonder the people who actually studied archaeology are not the ones peddling this bullshit. Whoa, do you have another lighter? Now kiss. They multiplied in my pockets. Okay, now that we're all on the same page with hyperdiffusion, let's go to the land down under, because we're going to explore the ruins in Antarctica.
The ruins left behind by one of these ancient civilizations are rumored to have been discovered and then covered up in Antarctica as well.
We are off to a strong start with this one. Okay, I want you guys to take 5 seconds to look at this image, and I'm gonna see if you can guess what I'm gonna talk about in this section. I'll be in the corner, taking a piss if you need me.